Hello musicians, welcome back. My name is Bucky Dirtle and I am doing another video tutorial today on MuseScore 2. This is the open source music notation software. Now, I've done a number of tutorials on the basic functionality of various different functions in MuseScore, and I'm continuing my way through some of the functions. And in this one, I'm going to do 3 functions within this tutorial. If you have any functions that you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments of this video, this tutorial, and I will be happy to have a look at it for you. Okay, so today we're going to do bar lines, accidentals, and note heads. So let's start with bar lines first of all. Now in our palettes, on the left-hand side, we can see there's a lot of different things we can import, a lot of different elements we can import into our score, and bar lines is right here. Now you can see we have a variety of bar lines. This is pretty straightforward to do, but I'll show you how to do it first, and then we'll have a talk about what we're doing and why and this kind of thing. Okay, first of all, this is repeat. I just dropped a repeat into here, and you can do that. You can drop the repeat in. You can drop in any bar line you want, anywhere you want it to drop into. You can just select the bar and you drop it, and it will do that. Now, let me just get rid of that guy. When you delete him, it goes back to a single default bar line. I can also drop in a double repeat, like that, and I can put another repeat at the end, so that will give us all kinds of repeat options. I can put maybe a repeat right here. So it gives us all kinds of different options for different things. Now, I'm not going to get into it in this tutorial, but this will show how it's meant to look, but we can also have options of how we want it to play back for us as well. But I'm going to get into that in another tutorial. But that's basically it. And you can also put in things like these dotted line ones like this, or this sort of thing. You can explore these and see where you want them to be and what you want to do with it. So there you go. That's bar lines. It's fairly straightforward. So there you go. But just be aware that we'll talk later about the playback options with your repeats. Okay. There's also another section we're going to talk about another time, very briefly, about repeats and jumps, which is down here, which is another set of elements we can bring in. Okay. So this is all about repeats and see. We see DCL Finet and DCL Coda, and all these ones are here, and Coda marks and things. We'll talk about that in another tutorial, but that's just a little brief thing. Okay, so next, accidentals. Okay, now accidentals, where are we to? This is on the left-hand side again. This is on our palettes. Now you can see we have a whole lot of these really cool-looking accidentals we can bring in. And again, it's very straightforward. If we want to bring in an accidental, we just bring it in and highlight the note that we want it to apply to, and we just drop it on. Now we have an A flat. And like if we want a double flat on something, you bring it in, you drop it on. Okay. Now, let me just show you something that happens, and you need to be aware of this. This may be something that you may think is what you want to have happen, maybe you don't. If I bring in a sharp, like let's say I drop the sharp on this E. Now, it made the E sharp, but the E directly after it made it back to natural again. So it only changed the note, the only single note that you wanted to change, and the software assumes that you don't want any other notes within that measure to be changed to the E sharp. Because as you know, musically, the E sharp will apply and stay applied until the bar line. Although that's a double bar line, dotted, this, dotted. So in musically, the sharp would apply, and then it would continue to apply to that E until the bar line. MuseScore assumes that you don't want that. MuseScore assumes that you actually want it to go back to the original key signature. So if you did want that to be a sharp as well after, you would have to take the sharp and drop it on as well. And there you go. That's pretty ugly though, isn't it? So, if you have to take it out then. I don't know if that's something that they intended, because it's a kind of a convoluted thing. I'm going to just try it with another one. I'll take a flat. I'll drop it on to this A right here. Okay, there we go. So now it made the A following natural. If we click on that natural and delete it, now it's A flat. So it's kind of a little convoluted in a way, but kind of not. Something to think about. And also, like I don't know. I guess it's okay that you can put flats in, like 2 flats in a row like that. I guess it's okay, but clerically, when you guys go to do your notation, you may want to go through and double check to make sure there's nothing like that, because that would be really odd if you had flats showing up over and over when it's not really necessary. So just something to think about. All this is that I guess MuseScore is doing things that are the safest. It's assuming that you want the least amount of change done, and then it's up to you to make any further changes if you want. So I'm not sure how to take that. I guess it's okay that MuseScore is doing that. But anyway, it's all good. As long as you're aware of it, you'll know what you need to do to fix things. I don't like to make extra work for myself. Okay, so now the next one is Noteheads. This is the third and final one for this tutorial. Noteheads. You can see on the left-hand side we have our Noteheads in our palette. Now we can bring in Noteheads simply enough. Just bring it in, and drop it on. If we're doing some Gregorian chant and you want to have these sorts of diamonds and things, and yeah, that all shows up there. One thing that I don't really care for is that the Notehead looks different in the palettes window than it does on the screen. And you can see there as I'm bringing these over, I'm bringing over, like, let's say this X. Bring over the X. It doesn't actually look like an X. It looks like an X. So that's something that I don't really care for a whole lot. I would rather if it was actually as it looks here on the score is the way it looks in the palette. Now let me show you something else with Noteheads. We've seen this before in another tutorial. I talked to you about notes before. I did a full tutorial on the inspector for notes, note inspector. Because when you actually click on a notehead, like let me click on this G right here, we're given a load of different things that we can do with our to customize these notes to look exactly the way we want them to be. Notehead is an option here. Oh, sorry, that's not the right notehead. Here we go. Head group. So you can see we have these over here. So there's another way we can do it. We can do a cross, which is actually looks more like an X, diamond, and all these are here. So they're found here on the left, and they're also found over on the right in the inspector, and they're also found over here in the palette. So whichever way works best for you. So there you go. That's Noteheads. Pretty straightforward stuff too. Not really complicated. I would actually like to have more options for Noteheads, but because I play a lot of percussion and I would like to be able to have all kinds of alternates where I can put in different things. Now, I don't know, maybe there's an option to do that in here, and perhaps we'll find it as we explore more and more into the software. But I would like to have all kinds of different options for note heads, styles, and shapes and sizes. That way, then, as I'm doing percussion, I can notate specific sounds with shapes of the note heads. But that's just a little personal thing for me. Okay, so there you go. Barlines, accidentals, and note heads. Now, I hope you enjoyed this this tutorial, and if you do find the software useful, make sure you go to the developer's website and show your support for their work, because this is open source and they're doing fantastic work for us, so we can all use it. We're free to use it as much as we like, so that's really important. So show your support for these developers. Okay, thank you very much, and I will see you next time.